struck me very clearly with what Lucas loved to talk about was how a species, people, and events come together and change the course of history and change someone's consciousness. I was always, when I watched the Ewoks, I always thought about the stories in the South Pacific in World War II, when the U.S. was taking various islands as resupply bases, naval bases, airstrips. Sometimes with a great deal of conflict, there were often indigenous people on those islands. And one of the ones that got more famous was dubbed later on in history as the cargo cult. And it was the native tribes that had not seen any flying machines before. And suddenly, one day, men land on their islands and then cut down an airstrip and build it within 24 hours. And then these machines start coming down from the sky and delivering them all kinds of items they'd never seen before, metalwork and all sorts of other things that, were just absolutely anathema because they probably didn't even have necessarily the minerals on the island. They give them spam, which is actually my favorite story on that. Going back to the Ewoks eating things was apparently spam tasted the most like human meat for the tribes that had engaged in cannibalism. They said that spam was the closest to human meat, and the rough translation for some of the for the act of cannibalism and eating a person was being called eating the long pig. So I I always go back to that little cheery thought sometimes. But after the U.S. had been on those islands and didn't need to occupy them anymore, we left. We just kind of up in one day, just as soon as we'd arrived, we'd left. And anthropologists through the years have been back to visit those cultures. And in the time being that this culture had been so changed and had been just through the interaction, right, had gone through some form of evolution, not maybe necessarily in the physical sense that we think of it as species evolving, but mentally you're in one state and then the next day you're in a completely different state, right? By just being introduced and just being, just ending up interacting with, which apparently with the Ewoks, it had happened sometime before, as Greg shed light on, that these tribes had built effigies to airplanes. They had built airplanes out of the materials that they had and were praying to them, waiting for the great god Cargo to come back to them one day. Because really, that's just, when you think about it, that's such a powerful thing that, I'm not saying for better, for worse, the way it should be, but it's inevitable and it's irrevocable, right? That the fact that two people from just completely different backgrounds and completely different understandings of their worlds suddenly have this interaction coming together, things are changed for them forever. Their outlook on the world has changed. They know certain things like this exist. They don't necessarily know how or why. And that to me is just, an interesting and powerful message. And yet we as the quote unquote evolved society might have that tendency to overlook the natives on that island, right? Suddenly we come in and, with all our tools and all our technology and all of that, but we can overlook all of who knows what kind of information they had and who knows what kind of things they had to teach us, but we're looking directly past that. So I always, that was one of the messages that always struck me that Lucas had with the Ewoks, right? That if the rebels had overlooked them and not made peace, they never would have defeated the Empire, right? Suddenly they're still under the oppressive yoke because, Lando shows up above, that shield is still up. He ain't getting in, right? Admiral Akbar dies that day as opposed to later on, and his last words are, "It's a trap!"
Why'd you bring it up? That's like bringing up Goose. You don't need it. You know what happens.
My parents don't acknowledge evolution. It's against God.
All right, originalists. We good to know. Well, you've given us some serious grist for the mill here. I mean, we definitely, started off on a galactic revolution, and we've gone into galactic evolution. See what I did there? See how I tied it all together there? Oh yeah, the MC.
Right here, Josh.
I'll be in the back, straining my arm, give myself a pat on the back. Excuse me. But I think I am going to table this meeting for now. We can. I want to reconvene again next week on our new subject. But I want to thank you both for joining us today because it is fantastic. I love spending the time with you, and I love hearing what you both have to say. and I look forward to spending some more. Star Child, Greg, what you got to say?
Oh, just, take care of yourself. Be good to yourself. You deserve love.
Love it.
Prepare that? Did you prepare that, you nerd? Oh my God.
Man, I just figure people deserve less fuckery and more positivity.
Oh my God.
And the people who are going to listen to this are definitely people that probably wouldn't mind saying that to. So ain't no Republicans watching this shit. I mean,
All right.
Yeah, for the people listening, I need people to understand Greg is like literally the image of cool. Like he has one freaking emotion like on his face, and it's just always cool. It's just like no matter what, like mad, angry, whatever, it's just always like this cool ass Greg. I hate it about him. I hate it. I want to get like up the album.
I just say, like, what's funny? Not the first person to say that. Which I think
you're both cool.
I guarantee your wife has said that.
Yeah, not the first. Oh, she hates it.
Oh.
She can't stand it. Oh, so there's always, I find that balance, and that's where my peace is.
For real.
For real.
All right. Rashawn, what you got to say to the people?
Man, I'm just the three of clubs. So, whenever I show up, try to have a good time and, make the best of it. You might win. Who knows?
Yeah.
Certain-handed blackjack. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll say both of you are so cool that when you go to sleep, sheep count you. I'm going to say that out loud. I'm going to send some absolute love out to my fellow Steam gentlemen. I'm going to say thank you for joining me. I look forward to doing this again next week. And until then, I want you to keep your fire burning and keep your head of steam on.
Will do.
See you guys later. Take care.
Later on.